Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast for Tuesday, the 8th of September, 2020. Here we go in Ephesians chapter 2. Paul is writing and he says this, "As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins in which you used to live, when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the Spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient." And that's the word of the Lord. We'll stop right there. This week on RadCast, we're going to talk about baptism. Have you been baptized? Do you remember your baptism? The reason this is on my mind and heart this week is because this Sunday we're having a baptism service at my church, and I'm so looking forward to it. In preparation for that, I have been reading up on baptism and was just really moved this morning by something I read from one of my favorite authors on theology and worship, Dr. Robert Webber. In his book, The Divine Embrace, Weber talks about how baptism has slowly taken a turn to become more of an I experience. Like, I got baptized. I took a stand. I made this decision. I had a good experience. I want to live right for a change. Now, there's no doubt that we are involved in our baptism. It's certainly not all God and not us. And of course, we got to be there for it. I mean, I am certainly involved. But if you look at the church history, like the church fathers in the days of old, they would write about how baptism was, among other things, a public confession, but also a public stand against the powers of the evil, against what Paul would call the ways of this world and the ruler of the kingdom of the air. That baptismal candidates were actually taking a public and very bold stand against the powers of evil. And one of the things that they would say is that they renounce Satan and his works. Now, when we do baptism at the church that I pastor, that's one of the questions we ask. Do you renounce Satan and all of his works? And everybody's like, yes. Good answer, right? What they did in the old days was they made it a far weightier part of the process, that they were like, I am not living according to that system and that way. I'm not living according to the way that the Prince of Darkness would have us to go because it's wrong. It goes against the ways of God. Now, I'll tell you this, that is a dangerous statement to make. We forget that we're in a spiritual battlefield and that there are fights and tensions all around us that are happening. Of course, Jesus is victorious over all, but we're still in the middle of it, folks. And so the spiritual battle of baptism is very, very, very real. Have you been baptized? If so, and if you are living in that baptism, that means that you made a public confession that you do not give in, that you do not live according to the ways of this world and the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the spirit that is now at work in those who are disobedient. It means that while grace abounds, and it certainly does, praise Jesus, we are also called to live our baptism. And that means that we go against systems that oppress, and we go against the evil one that would come to draw us away, which means in this battle, there are many fights and a tug of war extreme, but the battle is the Lord, the armor is ours, and the decision is ours to make daily that we will live in our baptism and thus live in the resurrected Christ. That's RadCast.